Welcome, everyone. Thank you guys for being here today. Today's a very special sitting because we are sitting with my dear friend Josephine, who's in this picture right here. Josephine, if you got on late or didn't get to read, Josephine is a friend of mine since 1994, and she was in a totally random accident, no fault. It just happened to her, you could say. She just happened to be in a spot where someone hit her, who knows how or why that happened, and they happened to push her into a tractor. And, that was it, right? So this is life, right? This is reality. It's times like these that can be powerful reminders to live. Look at Joe. Joe lived. So this is Josephine. I want to share some pictures with you. This is Joe. Like, this isn't like one, oh, she's posing for a picture, someone's taking a picture and like, so she's leaving. No, this is Joe 24/7. Joe is life, love, happiness. Like, she came in the room and it was the party. You know, and she's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. The funniest person. And there's some people that are super funny, but it's kind of mean. There's nothing mean about Joe. Kind, loving, caring, taking care of everyone, right? Full of joy, full of life, full of possibility, right? She didn't have the easiest life, in any way, in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, she had a normal life, right? This class is a reminder to live your life, be with the people around you, no matter who or what they are, because they're the ones around you. Live that, right? I took this from Joe's Facebook page. I was not there for that picture, but the rest of these pictures, this is Joe and I at a concert in Prospect Park. I couldn't upload a video to this, because I don't know how to do that. But I have a video because there was hula hoops. There was a bunch of hula hoops at this concert. And Joe was like hula hooping at one point with like two around her. It's like hilarious. Like, she's just in it. She just got in there, right? So cute. So awesome. So fun. So I know Joe because my best childhood friend, Charisse, we've been best friends since we were 3. Our moms were best friends. We met in dancing school when we were 3 years old. There's pictures of us from when we were like that little. We've been friends ever since, and our moms are best friends. So no matter what, our families are kind of tied. Her parents are actually my sister's godparents. Joe was Charisse's first friend at Boston College. And they met and they decided to become roommates. And because Charisse and I were best friends, I met her at a summer barbecue. And then at least once a month that freshman year, I was up at BC, like hanging out. And she came down. I was at Fordham. So she came down to Fordham. I went up to BC. So, Joe became a part of my life too. And we were always really friendly. But it wasn't, I guess, until after college and then the years following that she started to really become a friend of mine as well, not just someone I was friendly with. And especially in the past, I guess now if I think about it, 10 years, she became a great friend, because I'll show you some of the pictures of how I didn't realize how long it's been. So another dear friend of at least one other person on here, hey Mons, who's one of Monsi's on here. She's one of my best friends in the world.
Hello.
Hi. Hello.
I love these pictures. Oh my goodness.
I know. So, and she knew
Like,
Joe. There's some there's a picture of us hiking in the mailing I sent, and Monsi's the one leaping there, because Joe did leap. This is a mutual friend of Monsi's and I, Veronica, or Vero. If you saw the email, there's 2 Veros. This is the first Vero. And what really amused me, so Vero just texted me a little bit ago to say, oh my God, I can't believe this, and sent me these pictures. And this is from a really long time ago. Whoops, oh wait, that's the one. This is a really old picture, probably a good 10 or 12, maybe even 15 years ago. And it made me realize that Joe became friends with everybody. Like, Vero's a friend of mine, right? I was a friend of Charisse's. Joe became a friend with everyone. She was fun and love and light. And you know, Monty was a good friend of hers. And this is life, right? How lucky are we to just have this time together on this random planet? How wonderful. How wonderful. And, you know, I've gotten a few comments from folks in the chat box, and thank you so much. You know, this is a celebration. I hope you can see it in my face, right? Like, how wonderful, you know? And then this is another picture. This is actually from last summer. My dear friend Canna, who also a totally other circle of friends, we did a social distance picnic, a bunch of us, last summer. And so each pod or household kind of kept their 6 feet. And Joe was there and kind of sent me this picture. I was like, I just love these pictures of friends of mine from different parts of my life who all became friends with Joe, you know, and this is this person, right? And I'm pretty sure she came to this class a few times. So you're all friends with Joe. You know, this is all of us together. So I want to share all this with you. And as a celebration of her, so let's actually sit with the connected oneness that we are. And again, this is not some new age hokey thing. This is Carl Sagan physics. Do I have the textbook from Carl Sagan's wife? It's underneath my computer. But, you know, I mean, this was his wife. What is life, right? This is Lynn Margulis. She was a microbiologist, Carl Sagan's wife. What he figured out from an astrophysics point of view, that this is all one thing and none of us are separate, she figured out on the most microbiological level. She has a quote in that book, and I'm going to paraphrase it because I'm not going to remember it exactly, but she's like, even though from an atomic point of view, at the level of the atom, right? From an atomic point of view, even though mountains and rivers and continents and people have seemed to have come and gone, in 100 million years, not one thing has passed away. Not one thing has passed away. We are all one. Like the oceans that I described before I started recording, right? There's 2 waves on an ocean. They come from the ocean, they return to the ocean. They were that wave for a moment, but they're always the whole thing. We're each a wave, you know, and we're not separate from the whole. Our minds might think so, but let's get out of our mind's way and live. So, pause. Stop. Come into this precious life of yours. Notice the room you're in. Notice your body. Notice your breath. And relax. This is living life. This isn't about tension. It's relax. Notice, be aware, be awake, alive to your life, but relaxed. Enjoy. And breathe. Your breath is the anchor to the present moment, the only moment we're ever actually alive. Your breath is always right there for you, right underneath your nose. Use it as a tool to keep you connected. As you breathe, breathe in the whole room, the whole town or city that you're in, the whole state or province, the whole country. Breathe in the whole world. Breathe in the multiverse of universes. You're not separate from any of it, but you must live it. So stay here. Breathe with Joe, with her sister Joanne, her mom Diane, I believe her dad's name is Michael, with Monsi and Vero and Charisse and her friend Jeanette, who I know has really been feeling this, and the thousands of people who love Joe and who love you. with yourself, with me. I texted Vero earlier. Her dad isn't feeling well. He's in Peru. So we're going to breathe with her dad too. With all of our moms and dads, right? Let yourself get quiet and still. Completely awake. We're going to sit together for 5 minutes in silence. There'll be a bell to start and a bell to end. Enjoy your precious life. Breathe with it here and now. That's living, right? That's it. This week, if you were a client of mine, I tortured you with this question. I think almost everyone we start out normally. I don't think I started anyone off with the question, but I might have. And then at some point, I purposely cut in because, this was a great reminder for me as well, that we all get caught up in our mind's ideas about the 10,000 things and forget to actually live. And so at some point I would ask, what's the point? Why do you do this work with me? Why do you sit? Why do you study? Why do you do this? And ask yourself right now, why do you do this? Why do you do anything? What's the point? And it's the most important question that I can think of to ask. Next to, and then actually from there, there is a more important question to ask, is who am I? That's a very important question to ask. Because if you sincerely dig into that question and sincerely ask it, and really stay with it, and really question anytime you think you know the answer to the who am I, that's when you really do open up into the whole that you actually are, which the scientists know we are. The difference between a scientist and a Buddhist is they both know that it's all one. But the scientist feels a sense of loss and chaos there. And it just doesn't make sense. A Buddhist feels peace and freedom in that. And the difference is the quiet sitting. It's questioning the mind so deeply that the mind just kind of falls away and it doesn't get in the way of the point, which is to live. Whatever this moment is, to live it, that moment's already gone. I have a quote right up here on my wall. I don't know if I can pull it off without. Yeah. Oops. Oh, there's something on the back. Oh. My friend of mine made this when I left Japan. She made me this little card. This moment is like a cool breeze. The rest exists only in our imagination and memory. All right? This is your only moment. Live it. And it's not easy to live it. So we practice and we sit, right? This is the point. This is what we do, right? We practice sitting in the still quiet in order to carry that present awake aware breath into every moment of our precious fleeting life. This is the point, as far as I can tell. And for me, when I get into it, the point that I can come back to in my life is also the relationships I have with people, with all people, no matter if we're friends or not or something, right? What are the relationships that I'm cultivating with all people? How can I see past my stuff to meet someone, right? Because that's what's important to me, right? All the other things that at different times have been important or I thought were important later prove themselves to not be important at all. But that's my experience. And I was able to come to that by sitting quietly for long periods of time, right? And really living each moment and feeling the quiet brew within me. And in that quiet, there's so much more experience. So this is my encouragement for you. Are there any questions? Thoughts, pushback, feedback? What is the point? Why are you here right now? Mansi had to go to a meeting, so I know she just sent me a note that she dropped off. She said she can only pop in for a minute. She wanted to sit with Vero as well, because Vero was a friend of Mansi's as well. But I don't think anyone else here actually knew Vero. So why are you here? Why do you do this work? Really ask yourself. Get caught up in what your mind thinks is the point. Notice the trip that your mind will take you on trying to figure out what the point is. And after a while, breathe. Get quiet. And live. Yeah. It's not easy, right? And that's why I go back to this quote week after week. Do you have the patience to wait until your mud settles and your water is clear? Because the mind is like that puddle after a storm filled with mud, right? And the only way that pond gets clear or that puddle gets clear is if it's still for a very long time. And then the mud falls on its own. If I try to push the mud down, it just stirs it up more, right? The same with the mind. So the key here, right, when we're with another person, when we're with ourselves, is patience. And to me, patience is kindness. It's generosity. It's generosity to not get caught in my head while you're talking, to sit with you as you are. And then it's generous of me to not get caught up in what I should be doing when my head is doing its stuff. To be patient and kind towards my head and heart and curious about it. And as I am, and as I do, the mud settles and the water becomes clear. And as someone pointed out to me last week, I should say this again and again, the mud settles. It doesn't go away, right? And what's more is the mud is necessary. The mud's the fertilizer. You know, this mind that we want to settle, we don't want to get rid of it. It's the mind that figured out architecture and how to build a house to keep us safe through the storm and protected from the wolves and the bears, right? The mind has its utility. It's when we get attached to its ideas that we suffer. So we want it to settle enough so that we can see clearly and make choices, right? Or not make choices, watch the choices get made and be curious of, that's interesting. Because I'll be honest, I realized at some point, I think I make choices. They're all habits. Everything's a habit. And this is really where the power of meditation comes in, is that my habits have less power when I have space from them. And then it's not a habit. It's, oh, what actually comes up now? What needs to get done or doesn't need to be done? Yeah. So it's patience and kindness. And this is also good news because then it means that you don't still the mind that often gets in the way of our life. I mean, I remember before I started sitting, I was talking to my teacher about this morning. I used to drive places. I used to drive like similar routes every single day. And I would remember always having this profound feeling of, or once I was in the city, like, or if I was in the city, like walking places every day, same route. And I remember I would always have this profound feeling, always, of, wait, I don't remember getting here. How did I get here? You know, or the day would go by, I was like, oh, I realized I wasn't awake to my own life. I was so caught up in my head that I was literally dreaming and never alive, driven by to-do lists and goals and achievements and these things. And that didn't feel good after a while, you know, and I was very attached to it. So it took a lot of work and discipline for that attachment to release. Right? And now, like, I had that moment recently for the first time. Something came up and I was really thinking about it in my head and I was driving. And then I think it was like 10 minutes went by. I was like, oh my God, I haven't been in my own car the past 10 minutes. That was the first time that had happened in at least a decade. And it was profound and a good wake-up call for me, right? So the good news is that, so we don't want the mind to get in the way of our life. We want to actually live it, right? The mind has a utility, it's a great tool, but we don't want it to drown out the actual experience of life. Great. Now here's the good news, you don't still the mind. You can't. You try to still it, you try to push down the mud, you just stir it up. You get anxious, you get frustrated. Don't still the mind, you still the body. This is a physical practice. As you get physically still, you literally develop a physical, muscular gravitas that you begin to live by. Right? With practice and over time, the mind stills itself. So the key to this practice is the posture. It's the posture that allows us to sit still long enough for that mind to settle on its own without my interference. I just breathe. My mind might be racing, I might be falling asleep, I might be itchy or frustrated, whatever. I just sit there until that bell goes off, right? The key to sitting awake and not slouched over and falling asleep is an upright posture. Key to upright posture is an arch in your back. That's simple. And that's all this posture does, right? Is it forces an arch in the back without me forcing with my muscles, because my muscles will get tired and then it'll collapse and now I'm moving again. So if you want to sit on the floor, you just need something. This is a cushion underneath the bum. You're not sitting flat on the floor. There's always a cushion or a bench that gets your hips higher than your knees, because it's fascinating. When your hips are higher than your knees, you get a natural arch in your back. And then you can be awake, eyes open to life, living your life, not closing our eyes to life, awake and alive, because we get this wild, precious life to live. I want to be awake to it, not sleeping and off in la la land. And still abdominal breathing, anchored, gravitas. Yeah, this is the key. There's nothing special or esoteric about this. It's just a technical posture to get your hips higher than your knees so you get a natural arch in your back. But you don't need to do it on the ground. A chair is fine, right? We do this all the time. You can get it wrong in a chair. This is horrible. This is collapsed in on your lungs and your breathing pump system and your everything that's awake. And I don't know, this looks like la la land to me. Maybe you're breathing or something, but you're really collapsed in. And that's not alive. And you can get it wrong sitting cross-legged. If your knees are higher than your hips, you're gonna collapse in and you're gonna be tense. This is a relax. We wanna relax in our life. We wanna be relaxed, right? So if you wanna sit, she's very upright, but you can tell she's relaxed. She's open, present, graceful, relaxed. Same with him. You can feel his presence, right? Now, if you want to do it in a chair, the key is just to sit on the last edge of the chair, and then you'll get your natural arch. So I'm in a dress today, so I apologize for my legs. So if I sit here, I can force an arch, but that will collapse. But if I move to the edge of my chair, right? I move to the edge of my chair, square my feet flat on the floor, and my sit bones are right at the edge. If they go too far over, I will fall down. And if I go too far back, my back will collapse. But there's a sweet spot. And you gotta kind of use your chair. Do it now. This is the whole point of the class, right? Learn the posture. You learn the posture, the practice does itself. This is all about this physical posture. That's all this is. Get it right. Get into this posture. Find the spot where you're on the edge and you got a natural arch in your back that you're not doing. Then you put your elbows at your side and your hands flat. Feet are square, because you can be physically still this way. And that's the whole point. So come into this posture. And for another 5 minutes, with a strong awake posture, physically still and physically quiet, let's breathe with Joe, who is no one else but you. We are all one. This is one thing rising and falling like the breath. Come into your best posture. Get still, quiet, awake, alive. And for the next 5 minutes, practice being fully alive to each fleeting microsecond of a moment. It's constantly moving. Use your breath as an anchor because it's moving as well. Relaxed and calm for the next 5 minutes. Just breathe. Your whole life is in this breath. Be alive to it. That's living, awaken alive, or at least practicing it. Right? That's the good work. It's a tribute to yourself and everyone. We breathe together. Thank you for being here today. I do have to end class a little bit early today because I'm actually traveling out to the services. Are there any questions? You know, this is what meditation is. We practice not doing. We sit there and stop so we can experience our life. Right? And meditation can often be another doing, so we just call it sitting. We're just going to sit there and pay attention and live. And then from that still sitting practice of not doing, when the world is calling on you to go, think, do, and solve, for you to resist the urge to fill the space in the silence, to fill your life up with noise, to stop and sit. How powerful, right? And the more you practice this, the more it carries into every moment of your life, so that inevitably, when a loved one dies, when you die, because you will die, we all will die. As you practice this still, silent, awake being, not doing, we're human beings, not human doings, right? We practice being. More and more of your life do you live, more connected do you feel. And in the moment of your inevitable death, you can live that too. Unknown, curious, moment by precious moment, not caught up in the future of when you're going to go or the past of what you've missed, but completely right here. And when someone you love passes away unexpectedly or after a painful, long drawn out, whatever, you can meet that too fully without knowing, completely connected. This is why we sit. This is the power of our practice. And I'm so grateful for each of you being here every week, most of you, practicing along with me. Sit strong this week. Your life depends upon it. Sit with Joe and all for joy. And everyone that sits together, we're all sitting together at all times. Yeah. Thank you. thank you guys. Quite grateful for your time today. And drive safe. Drive safe. Yeah. All right. Much love. Thank you guys. And oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, thanks. Oh, I love all your messages. Thank you. Thank you for your love and your peace. Yeah, I mean, this is life. Peace, love, joy. Yeah, live it. Great. I'll be with her family and other friends tonight and tomorrow, and I will carry all of you with me to her and her family, because you all have sat. And I will publish this and hopefully for anyone of her family or anyone that wants it. We can do this. And all of you who sat with her today, who didn't even maybe personally know her, but through your breath are completely connected. Right? Thank you. Have a wonderful week. Sit strong. Your life and everyone else's depends upon it. Thank you. Grateful for you all. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Jackie.
Bye. And thank you so
Thank you for being here. Bye, guys.